from the southeast, and that represents over there where the outfall used to be. So where the lake drains out to the Gulf, that's called an outfall. That's a historic outfall. So it used to drain there through the dunes, sand washed in and built up, and now it forces itself out through the eastern end.
It's my pet. Whoa, don't jump out. Stay with me, brother. It's my homeboy. You want to see my friend?
Put him down.
He's so cute.
Go to bed.
Don't scare my friend.
Yeah.
Oh!
There he went.
Alright, so
You got him?
He likes me.
This is a globally rare ecosystem, and the only place in Florida where you will see these. We have
Wow, look at that dune over there.
15, 17, we have in the team. We have a lake we have along here in Walton County. Lake Powell on the Walton Bay County line is the first one on the line, and then Fuller is the last in line, which is the next, is 2 lakes over. We have, in this park, we have 2.5 dune lakes. We have Morris, which is just over there. We have Campbell, which is this one here. And then we have part of Stallworth on our eastern boundary. Part of it's private and part of it's in the park. And then we have a couple that could be dune lakes, but they dry up periodically, so they don't get classified. So that water that we crossed back there is draining down to the road on the other side into the cypress pond over there, and then eventually into this lake. And this lake is so full now that along the eastern side, on that very corner down there, the water is spilling out to the woods in a channel, cutting through the dunes, and is draining out into the Gulf of Mexico. So there is a direct link all the way out to the Gulf of Mexico.
Nice.
This lake is very rare to see it open. It does not open very much. When I started working here a year and a half ago, they said, you'll probably never see it in your career. And I've seen it open like 4 times already because of all the rain we've had.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a berm. It goes through some flatwoods over there, some pine trees and all that stuff, and a kind of open grassy area. And then it really starts losing some altitude and gets out through the dunes out to the beach. So what makes a dune lake a dune lake is the fact that the beach is just on the other side of those dunes over there. So you can get on the south side and walk about 100 yards in some spots and go straight out to the Gulf of Mexico over the dunes. So it's rare to see lakes that are this close to the beach, and that periodically open up the waters out into the Gulf. Yes.
If there's a surge from a hurricane, will the water come into the lake?
Yes, it can. In some of these lakes are pretty far back, Morris and Campbell. Some lakes that are farther down to the east, their connection to the Gulf is much closer. So it doesn't even take a surge. It'll take a bit of a high wind. Sometimes just the water rushing out creates a channel deep enough that water from the sea will come in. So some of those lakes actually get salty, and fish will use them to come up and spawn. Blue crabs and stuff will come in. This lake is fresh. This lake is very, very, very little salt. It's actually sweeter than your tap water that you get. It's very, very sweet, fresh water. And when I started here, the shoreline was out where that grass line is. And through all the rain we've had, it's risen several feet. And when I started doing water quality monitoring on this lake, I was getting depths in the middle of about 13 feet. And now I'm getting close to 20 feet out there in the middle.
Nice.
So the water level's up a lot. There's trails underwater. The water's backing up through the woods over there, through the cypress. So it's not draining fast enough for it to as it's coming in.
I see the alligator signs.
Yeah, we do get alligators here. Not very many. Not like down in Central Florida. But we do get them occasionally. They have bred, and they took their babies across the tram road over there to the beach into No Name Lake, and they currently reside there now. And then directly straight across that way, that really tall mass of green is Topsail Hill. That's the namesake good one. Namesake dune of the park. It's the tallest dune that we have out there by the beach. Not the highest point of the park, but the tallest dune that we have. And it approaches 50 feet in height from sea level.
50 feet.
Yeah, so the view from up there is pretty spectacular because you can see this entire lake, all the dunes out in front of you, the Gulf of Mexico all the way down.
Wow.
So it's a pretty nice view. And you'll notice across the lake, you'll see the tops of some cypress trees. Remember I was telling you how the salt spray will prune the tops of plants?
Yes.
You can see that the prevailing wind is from the south, typically from the southeast. And that represents over there where the outfall used to be. So where the lake drains out to the Gulf, that's called an outfall. That's a historic outfall. So it used to drain there through the dunes, sand washed in and built up, and now it forces itself out through the eastern end. And so when you go down to the beach, when you go to our beach access, you go to the right, you'll see where the water's coming out. That's coming out of this lake. You'll see the break in the dunes where it's cut it out. That's called the sweep. So that water, as it drains out of the lake, sweeps up and down the beach like a river, although it happens much faster because that sand is very shifty and moves around a lot. So it sweeps up and down. So that there's a defined area there where the historical sweep where that water has been through in the past.
So the sweep is the cutout where the outfall
Meets the Gulf of Mexico, where it cuts through the dune line out to the Gulf. And that's been a real problem around here when people build their houses here. They like them near water. They put them near these outfalls, and then the water sweeps out and then undercuts their house or cuts their yard. And so there's a kind of a point of contention of some of the homeowners here because they put their houses in the historical sweep area of that outfall. And you can look at an aerial map and see very clearly where they go. But so that's a bit of a management issue with some of these lakes, with some of the houses and homeowners around the area, but not here.
So, with this being freshwater, what are some of your aquatic animals that reside in the lake other than alligators?
There's fish in there. Nobody's ever done a fish study, so nobody knows really what kinds of fish are in there. But you can find your typical brim. You can see them you can see them all plunging to their deaths out there through the outfall into the Gulf of Mexico.
Really? What about otters or beavers?
I haven't seen any otters. You'll see beavers, but not in the open water. You'll see the beavers back in the streams that come down. You'll see beavers more on areas that have more streams that come into these lakes. This lake doesn't really have a stream like some of the other lakes do, and you'll see them over there. Lots of frogs, lots of wading birds, lots of diving birds. Right now, the Bonaparte's gulls are here, so they have big rafts here. These lakes are very, very important on the bird migration. When these birds come across the Gulf of Mexico, their first stop is a very desolate and barren beach with not much in it. They get to a place like this, they stop on the beach, but then they come back and they have all this nice forage area. These uplands with the oak trees and the pine flatwoods, lots of cover for safety, lots of food with insects. So this is a very important stop. They'll stop here for a couple days and then migrate on. Which is actually just now starting. I've seen some migrants already starting to come through, so we should pick up here pretty shortly. So that's our dune lakes.
Excellent.
And I will touch on real briefly too our shorebirds out here. We have a state listed threatened species that nests on our beach, the snowy plover.
Snowy plover.
Mm-hmm. And a small white bird. We band them. We put colored bands on them so we can identify different birds. We nest search every Monday. We go looking for them, and they are amazing little birds. And each one has their own little personality, and it's amazing to be able to work with them. But we have really, really good nesting habitat out here for them. Those and least terns. We can get a sizable least tern colony. That's the other thing that the outfalls do. They're very important for foraging for shorebirds. Rest stops, all terns, gulls, sandpipers, things like that. Any questions?
What is the name of the pot? What it means?
I'm sorry?
The pot name?
Topsail, what does it
Topsail
mean?
hill. Oh, that when viewed from the sea, when ships approaching, that looked like the top mast of a ship. So the topsail of a ship.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I don't see it. It looks like a big mass of sand, but I guess it looks different from the Gulf.
I guess so, yeah.
Cool.
Because there's several places. There's like a topsail bluff over there in 4 Mile Village. It's a topsail hill.
It is. Yeah.
So we're gonna go back out the same way we came in.
Excellent.